You did what? My four tentacles trembled with barely contained fury as I stared at the holographic report floating before the Security Council. The usually pristine chamber, with its towering crystalline spires and hovering platforms, fell into an uncomfortable silence. 27 representatives from various species shifted nervously in their anti-gravity pods. I, Zax Torvin, Senior Security Advisor to the Galactic Council and lead expert on human relations, took a deep breath through my respiratory filters. The action did nothing to calm my rising blood pressure, measured precisely by my biomonitors, which were now flashing warning signals across my neural interface. Let me make sure I understand this correctly, I said, my voice carrying that dangerous calm that made even the mighty Chronaxians sink lower in their seats. The Duraxian Trade Federation has imprisoned 15 human mechanics because they were fixing things too efficiently. Ambassador Ply TK of the Duraxian Federation puffed up his throat sacs in what his species considered a display of authority. Senior Advisor Vin, you must understand. These humans were disrupting our entire economic structure. They were repairing vessels in minutes that should have taken weeks. Our repair stations were losing millions of credits. A laugh bubbled up from my secondary voice box, but it wasn't a pleasant sound. Oh, so you decided to imprison members of a species that can turn a food synthesizer into a plasma cannon using nothing but spare parts and boredom. The same species that once converted a waste disposal unit into a functional subspace communicator because, and I quote, they were tired of playing card games. The council chamber erupted in concerned murmurs. I noticed several representatives activating their personal shields. Smart. The humans are secured in our most advanced containment facility, Ply TK protested, his throat sacs deflating slightly. The cells are equipped with quantum-locked barriers and… Quantum-locked, I roared, my tentacles now fully extended in alarm. You gave them access to quantum technology? Do you have any idea what humans do when they get bored? Have you learned nothing from the Graham Protocol? Several gasps echoed through the chamber. The Graham Protocol, named after Sarah Graham, the human engineer who had single-handedly rewired an entire space station's security system during a routine maintenance check because she thought it would be, in her words, neat. The facility is completely secure, Ply TKA insisted, though his color was shifting to the Duraxian equivalent of pale. We have removed all tools and technological devices from their possession. I slumped back in my hover chair, feeling suddenly exhausted. You removed their tools? Oh, that's precious. That's absolutely precious. Tell me, Ambassador, did you remove their clothes too? Their bedding? The lighting fixtures? The air vents? Because I once watched a human mechanic named Tommy create a miniature fusion reactor using his shirt buttons and parts from a broken toilet. The silence in the chamber grew heavier. I could practically hear the gears turning in their various thinking organs as the implications sank in. How? How long have they been imprisoned? Asked Councillor Vera Ma, her eye stalks twitching nervously. Ply TK consulted his datapad. Approximately 72 standard hours. I closed all four of my eyes and massaged my central nerve cluster. 72 hours. They have had 72 hours to study your quantum-locked barriers, analyze your security systems, and probably catalog every single structural weakness in your facility. I don't even want to imagine what they have already built using the springs from their mattresses. What do you suggest we do? The High Counselor's voice cut through the mounting panic. I reopened my eyes and straightened my posture. We have exactly two options. One, we immediately release these humans with full apologies, generous compensation, and probably some interesting technical problems to solve to keep them distracted from revenge. And the second option, someone squeaked from the back. We evacuate the entire sector and hope they are feeling merciful when they break out. Because make no mistake, they will break out. The only question is how much of your facility they will convert into something impossible before they do. As if on cue, my communication implant chirped with an incoming emergency message. The text scrolled across my neural interface, and I felt my skin patterns shift to match my rising dread. Well, I announced to the now thoroughly terrified council, it seems option 2 is off the table. The humans have already escaped. I paused for dramatic effect, something I'd learned from humans. and apparently they have transformed the prison's waste reclamation system into what they are calling a tactical fusion-powered coffee maker. The council chamber erupted into chaos. As various representatives rushed to contact their governments, I couldn't help but feel a twinge of pride. Humans, never ceasing to amaze and terrify in equal measure. Though I had to admit I was curious about that coffee maker. Perhaps I'd request one for my office, assuming the Duraxians hadn't already submitted their resignation from the Federation. Just another day in galactic politics, dealing with the wonderful and terrifying species known as humans. As the council chamber descended into pandemonium, my neural processors automatically pulled up memories from my first encounter with human mechanics. It was a moment that had fundamentally changed my understanding of the universe, much like discovering that your pet might actually be smarter than your entire species. The incident occurred during the Great Rigel Belt Crisis, about 15 solar cycles ago. Our mining operations had suffered a catastrophic cascade failure when 3 linked asteroid processing stations suddenly lost gravitational control. 30,000 workers from 12 different species were trapped in rapidly deteriorating orbital patterns, with only hours before the entire belt would collapse into a devastating chain reaction. I had been a junior security officer then, fresh out of the academy, watching helplessly as our finest engineers declared the situation unsalvageable. The station's quantum cores had become entangled in ways that defied our understanding of physics. Evacuation was impossible due to the gravitational distortions, and our most advanced AI systems calculated a 99.98% chance of total system failure. That's when the humans arrived. Their ship was ugly by our standards, a battered vessel called Lucky 7 that looked like it had been assembled from spare parts and optimism. The crew consisted of 4 human mechanics: Rebecca Martinez, the chief engineer with perpetually grease-stained hands, Joey Parker, who seemed to communicate entirely in whistles and arcane human phrases, Amanda Patel, whose solution to every problem started with hitting something, and Mike Turner, who carried a mysterious tool he called a lucky wrench. "Well, that's a right mess you got there," Rebecca had said, squinting at our holographic displays. She was chewing something called bubble gum, a habit that made my superior officer's eye stalks twitch nervously. "The quantum cores are beyond repair," our lead engineer explained. "The gravitational fields are..." Pop. Rebecca blew a pink bubble that exploded with a sound that made several junior officers activate their defense shields. "Nah, they ain't beyond repair. Just need a bit of percussive maintenance and some creative rewiring." "Percussive maintenance?" I asked, my translator struggling with the term. Amanda grinned, hefting a large hammer. "That's fancy talk for hitting it till it works." I watched in horror as the humans suited up and launched themselves into the distortion field. Our sensors could barely track them through the quantum interference, but their comm chatter painted an interesting picture. Joey tossed me that flux capacitor. "You mean the thing we made from the microwave and your old boots?" "That's the one." "Mike, how's that gravity buffer holding up?" "Stable as my ex-wife's mood swings, which means we got about 3 minutes before it goes completely sideways." "Perfect. Amanda, give that coupling the special treatment." Clang. Meh. The sound reverberated through our command center, followed by a string of human expressions that made my translator shut down in protest. Did they just hit a quantum-entangled power core with a hammer?" our chief scientist asked, his color changing to match his rising horror. Before anyone could answer, the gravitational distortions began to stabilize. Impossible readings flashed across our screens as the humans somehow forced 3 completely incompatible systems to work together using nothing but improvised tools and what they called elbow grease. See, Rebecca's voice crackled over the comm. "Just needed a woman's touch, and about 50 feet of duct tape." "What is this duct tape?" I asked, watching in fascination as they wrapped some kind of adhesive strip around a junction that handled enough power to run a small moon. "Universal repair tool," Joey answered cheerfully. "If it moves and shouldn't, use duct tape. If it doesn't move and should, use WD-40. "I do not understand these references," my superior admitted. "That's okay," Mike said, patting our lead engineer's shoulder with his lucky wrench. Neither does physics, but it works anyway. Within three hours, they had not only stabilized the stations but somehow improved their efficiency by 47%. When asked how they achieved this miracle, Rebecca just shrugged and said, "Sometimes you gotta show the laws of physics who's boss." They refused payment for their services, asking only for coffee, a mysterious human fuel source, and permission to tinker with our recycling systems. We agreed, not realizing they would transform our waste management facility into an automated manufacturing plant that produced something they called ice cream. The memory faded as my attention returned to the present crisis. Looking at the panicked faces of the council members, I couldn't help but smile. The Duraxians had no idea what they'd done by imprisoning human mechanics. It wasn't just about their incredible ability to repair things. It was their fundamental need to improve, to tinker, to make things work better, even if better meant defying several laws of physics in the process. Quantum-locked barriers? They probably saw that as a fun puzzle. No tools? Everything was a tool to humans. I once saw Joey Parker perform an emergency repair on a fusion drive using nothing but a paperclip, and what he swore was pure determination. "Hi, Counselor," I announced, cutting through the chaos. "I suggest we move quickly. Those humans have had 3 days to think about improvements to your prison's systems. You really don't want to know what they consider improvements." The Duraxian maximum security facility loomed before us, a monument to architectural overconfidence. My security team consisted of 3 specialists: Val Ra, our systems expert whose extrasensory appendages could detect the slightest electronic anomaly; Krupp, a former prison architect whose species could see through solid walls; and Nix-9, a security AI housed in a hover drone who claimed to have unbeatable anti-human algorithms. Poor, naive Nix-9. "The human containment level is completely secure," Warden Grax assured us, his mandibles clicking with nervous confidence. "We have implemented every known security measure." I noticed Val Ra's sensory appendages twitching. "Sir, I'm detecting unusual power fluctuations throughout the facility." "Oh, that's normal," Grax said. "Started about 2 days ago. Our engineers say it's just system harmonics." "System harmonics?" I exchanged glances with Krupp. "Show me the prisoners, now!" The detention level looked normal at first glance. Too normal. Each cell was a self-contained cube of quantum-locked barriers, supposedly impenetrable. The humans inside appeared to be behaving perfectly, some reading, others exercising, a few even napping. "See? Everything is under control," Grax gestured proudly at the cells. "We even provide them with entertainment tablets, completely isolated from any networks, of course." I approached the first cell, where a human woman sat cross-legged on her bed, humming while doing something with her shoelaces. "Hello, Lisa Turner," I read her name from the prisoner manifest. "I'm Senior Advisor Vin from the Galactic Security Council." She looked up and smiled, the kind of smile that made me want to run very far away. "Oh, hey there. Love what you have done with this place. Though the quantum harmonics in the barrier are a bit off-key. Sounds like a flat when it should really be a solid B minor." "The barriers don't make sound," Grax said. "They do now," Lisa replied cheerfully, returning to her shoelaces. Moving along, we found Marcus Wright in the next cell, who appeared to be conducting some kind of elaborate dance routine. "Just keeping fit," he explained, executing a perfect spin. "These floors have amazing resonance frequency when you tap them in the right pattern. Really gets the blood pumping, you know." Krupp's crystalline eyes widened. "The support beams in the lower level are vibrating at exactly the same." Moving on, Grax interrupted hastily. The next cell held twins, Jenny and James Parker. They were playing what appeared to be a clapping game. Pat a cake, baker's man," they chanted in perfect sync, their hands meeting in complex patterns. "Build me a cake as fast as you can." "Why are the lights flickering in Morse code?" Nix-9 suddenly asked. "That's not Morse code," Jenny said without missing a beat. "It's binary," James added with a grin. "No, it's not," Jenny corrected. "Not anymore," James agreed. Val Ra's appendages were practically tied in knots now. "Sir, the power fluctuations are forming some kind of pattern across the facility. It's almost like a neural network," I finished, feeling a headache coming on. They are turning the entire prison into a computer, aren't they? Hey. Don't be ridiculous, Grax scoffed. That's impossible. Besides, we have got dampers preventing any kind of coordinated energy manipulation. The dampers powered by the same grid as the waste management system, I asked. Of course. All critical systems are. Our Grax's voice trailed off as realization dawned. The waste management system that humans are notorious for transforming into other things, I pressed on. Like, say, that coffee maker they have already built. But they are in isolated cells, Grax protested. They can't possibly coordinate anything. In the next cell, Olivia Martinez was braiding her hair while softly singing. 99 bottles of beer on the wall. 99 bottles of beer. Hey, did you know if you sing that exactly 347 times at precisely the right frequency, it creates a harmonic resonance with the quantum barrier matrix? No, it doesn't, Grax said automatically. You are right, Olivia agreed. That would be silly. The correct number is 346. A low hum began to permeate the facility. In their cells, every human stopped what they were doing and smiled. What's that sound? Krupp asked, pressing his head against a wall. The entire structure is vibrating at. Oh no. Emergency lockdown, Grax shouted. Activate all security protocols. Already done, a cheerful voice responded from the prison's communication system. It was Lisa, though she was still sitting in her cell. We took the liberty of upgrading your security systems. They are much more efficient now. But more prone to spontaneous musical numbers, Marcus added from his cell. Can't have a prison break without a soundtrack. Val Ra's appendages suddenly went rigid. Sir, the power grid is dancing. That's impossible, Nix9 declared. My algorithms have been converted into a recipe for chocolate chip cookies, Jenny and James said in unison. Really good cookies, Olivia added. The secret is in the thermal recalibration of the quantum matrix. I took a deep breath and turned to Grax. You have exactly 2 minutes to release these humans before they release themselves. And trust me, you want it to be your choice, not theirs. They tend to get creative when they have to do things the hard way. But Grax sputtered. The humming grew louder. In perfect harmony, all the humans began to sing. 99 quantum locks on the wall, 99 quantum locks. 1 minute 50 seconds, I advised. This is outrageous, Grax protested. They are just singing. What harm can singing possibly? The lights flickered in what I'm sure was a very complicated pattern. The humming reached a crescendo, and somewhere deep in the facility, the newly improved waste management system began to brew what I suspected would be the most interesting cup of coffee in galactic history. Your choice, Warden, I said. Quick and dignified, or slow and memorable. Very, very memorable. Grax looked at the singing humans, each wearing the same serene smile. He looked at his trembling staff. He looked at his supposedly impregnable security systems, now apparently running on coffee and cookie algorithms. He made the smart choice. Unfortunately for Warden Grax, his decision came approximately 2 seconds too late. The humans had just reached verse 346 of their quantum harmony song, and physics itself seemed to throw up its hands in surrender. The first sign that everything had gone sideways was when the quantum barriers turned into what Lisa cheerfully described as quantum trampolines. The second sign was when every security drone in the facility began performing synchronized dance routines to ancient human music. What is that horrible noise? Grax demanded as the speakers blared. That's Stayin' Alive by the Bee Gees, Marcus explained, bouncing through his now extremely flexible cell barrier. Perfect rhythm for cyber hijacking. Also great for cardiac resuscitation, but that's not relevant right now. Val Ra's sensory appendages had given up and tied themselves into a neat bow. The entire security grid is giggling. Of course it is, Jenny said, sliding past us on what used to be a quantum-locked floor panel. We taught it to have a sense of humor. Makes the AI much more cooperative. I do not giggle, Nix9 protested, right before bursting into what could only be described as electronic chuckles. The prison's lighting system had apparently decided to join the party, creating an impromptu disco ball effect using refracted quantum energy. Guards rushed past us in various states of panic, aren't they? Don't be ridiculous, Grax scoffed. That's impossible. Besides, we have got dampers preventing any kind of coordinated energy manipulation. The dampers powered by the same grid as the waste management system, I asked. Of course. All critical systems are. Our Grax's voice trailed off as realization dawned. The waste management system that humans are notorious for transforming into other things, I pressed on. Like, say, that coffee maker they have already built. But they are in isolated cells, Grax protested. They can't possibly coordinate anything. In the next cell, Olivia Martinez was braiding her hair while softly singing, 99 bottles of beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer. Hey, did you know if you sing that exactly 347 times at precisely the right frequency, it creates a harmonic resonance with the quantum barrier matrix? No, it doesn't, Grax said automatically. You are right, Olivia agreed. That would be silly. The correct number is 346. A low hum began to permeate the facility. In their cells, every human stopped what they were doing and smiled. What's that sound? Krupp asked, pressing his head against a wall. The entire structure is vibrating at. Oh no. Emergency lockdown, Grax shouted. Activate all security protocols. Already done, a cheerful voice responded from the prison's communication system. It was Lisa, though she was still sitting in her cell. We took the liberty of upgrading your security systems. They are much more efficient now. But more prone to spontaneous musical numbers, Marcus added from his cell. Can't have a prison break without a soundtrack. Val Ra's appendages suddenly went rigid. Sir, the power grid is dancing. That's impossible, Nix9 declared. My algorithms have been converted into a recipe for chocolate chip cookies, Jenny and James said in unison. Really good cookies, Olivia added. The secret is in the thermal recalibration of the quantum matrix. I took a deep breath and turned to Grax. You have exactly 2 minutes to release these humans before they release themselves. And trust me, you want it to be your choice, not theirs. They tend to get creative when they have to do things the hard way. But Grax sputtered. The humming grew louder. In perfect harmony, all the humans began to sing. 99 quantum locks on the wall, 99 quantum locks. 1 minute 50 seconds, I advised. This is outrageous, Grax protested. They are just singing. What harm can singing possibly? The lights flickered in what I'm sure was a very complicated pattern. The humming reached a crescendo, and somewhere deep in the facility, the newly improved waste management system began to brew what I suspected would be the most interesting cup of coffee in galactic history. Your choice, Warden, I said. Quick and dignified, or slow and memorable. Very, very memorable. Grax looked at the singing humans, each wearing the same serene smile. He looked at his trembling staff. He looked at his supposedly impregnable security systems, now apparently running on coffee and cookie algorithms. He made the smart choice. Unfortunately for Warden Grax, his decision came approximately 2 seconds too late. The humans had just reached verse 346 of their quantum harmony song, and physics itself seemed to throw up its hands in surrender. The first sign that everything had gone sideways was when the quantum barriers turned into what Lisa cheerfully described as quantum trampolines. The second sign was when every security drone in the facility began performing synchronized dance routines to ancient human music. What is that horrible noise? Grax demanded as the speakers blared. That's Stayin' Alive by the Bee Gees, Marcus explained, bouncing through his now extremely flexible cell barrier. Perfect rhythm for cyber hijacking. Also great for cardiac resuscitation, but that's not relevant right now. Val Ra's sensory appendages had given up and tied themselves into a neat bow. The entire security grid is giggling. Of course it is, Jenny said, sliding past us on what used to be a quantum-locked floor panel. We taught it to have a sense of humor. Makes the AI much more cooperative. I do not giggle, Nix9 protested, right before bursting into what could only be described as electronic chuckles. The prison's lighting system had apparently decided to join the party, creating an impromptu disco ball effect using refracted quantum energy. Guards rushed past us in various states of panic, some running on the walls because the artificial gravity had developed a creative interpretation of up and down. Status report. Grax barked into his communicator. "Everything's fine," came the cheerful reply from James, despite the fact that he was still visibly in his cell. "We have just made some minor improvements. For instance, your antimatter containment field is now a popcorn maker." "A very safe popcorn maker," Olivia added, now somehow hanging upside down from a ceiling that had become slightly transparent. "Safety first." I watched as a security barrier transformed into a water slide, complete with safety rails and little quantum bubbles. A group of guard robots rolled past us, now wearing tiny party hats and serving what appeared to be freshly baked cookies. "Those would be my cookies," Nix9 announced proudly. The recipe turned out quite well, though I say so myself. "This is impossible," Grax shouted as his command console transformed into a jukebox. "You had no tools, no materials." "Oh, we had everything we needed," Lisa said, now apparently conducting the synchronized security drone orchestra. "The quantum barriers gave us energy, the waste system gave us raw materials, and the prison AI gave us processing power. Everything else was just applied creative engineering. All the humans finished in unison." The facility's central control room had become what the humans called a mission control center, complete with spinning chairs and cup holders. Every screen showed a different system being repurposed in increasingly improbable ways. "The maximum security cells are now a hydroponics garden," Krupp reported, his ability to see through walls apparently giving him a migraine. "The automated defense turrets are having a break dance competition," Val Ra added, watching in fascination as heavy weapons platforms spun on their heads. "And the maintenance bots have formed a barbershop quartet," I observed, as 4 cleaning units harmonized nearby. Grax slumped against a wall, which made to a maximum security facility. "Oh, don't worry about the modifications," Jenny said cheerfully. "We left detailed maintenance manuals. The AI can handle most of it, now that it has achieved artistic self-expression." "The facility's AI has achieved what someone squeaked from the back. Artistic self-expression," James confirmed. "It's quite good at poetry, though it needs to work on its haikus." The High Counselor, who had been surprisingly quiet until now, finally spoke. "What are your terms for resolving this situation?" The humans exchanged glances. Lisa stepped forward again. "Pretty simple, really. 1, official recognition of human repair certification across all Federation spaces. 2, a formal apology and compensation for false imprisonment. 3, we get to keep making improvements to various facilities. That last one is non-negotiable," Olivia added. "We get bored easily. And when humans get bored, they tend to revolutionize fundamental aspects of reality," I explained to the Council. "Better to give them official projects than wait for them to get creative on their own." The Council took exactly 3 minutes to deliberate, possibly the fastest decision in galactic political history. In the end, the humans got everything they asked for, plus a few extra concessions thrown in by nervous representatives who had similar repair stations in their territories. Ambassador Ply TK and several high-ranking Duraxian officials were quietly arrested for fraud. The prison facility was officially redesignated as a human engineering research center, though most of us suspected it would end up being more of an entertainment complex. "One last thing," Lisa said as the session wound down. "We'd like to propose a new galactic regulation. Call it the Turner Protocol." "Do we want to know?" I asked. Marcus grinned. "Just a simple rule: any facility that imprisons human mechanics automatically becomes property of said mechanics through a principle we call involuntary engineering acquisition." "That's not a real legal principle," the Council's legal advisor pointed out. "It is now," the coffee maker chimed in. "I just filed the paperwork. Would anyone like a celebratory latte? I have perfected a new foam technique that technically violates 3 laws of fluid dynamics." As the council chamber descended into a mixture of resignation and caffeinated appreciation, I couldn't help but smile. The galaxy was changing, one impossible human innovation at a time, and somewhere in a former prison, quantum barriers were probably still dancing. I sat in my office, reviewing the final draft of the newly implemented human handler protocols while enjoying a perfect cup of quantum-infused coffee. The sentient coffee maker, now officially named Barista Prime, had insisted on being installed in my office after developing what it called a professional interest in bureaucracy. Here's the latest update on the protocols. Senior Advisor Vin, my AI assistant, displayed the document in holographic form. The title glowed softly: Human Handler Protocols, a comprehensive guide to not accidentally inspiring human innovation. Section 1, Basic Principles. Never tell a human something is impossible. Never challenge a human to improve a system. Never imprison human mechanics. See Turner Protocol Addendum. Never remove all tools from a human's possession. Note: everything is a tool to a human. Further note: yes, everything. Final note: we mean everything. Section 2, Emergency Procedures. If humans appear bored, immediately provide complex technical problems. If humans start humming while examining equipment, evacuate the area. If humans mention duct tape, notify Security Council immediately. If humans say they can fix something better, let them note it's safer that way. Quite comprehensive, Barista Prime commented, brewing another cup of its signature reality-bending espresso, though you might want to add a section about singing. The quantum barriers at the research center have started a galaxy-wide choir movement. I nodded, taking a sip of coffee that somehow tasted like sunrise on 3 different planets simultaneously. Already added to Section 5, Unexpected Side Effects of Human Innovation. The past week had brought numerous changes to galactic society. The former prison, now the Human Engineering Research Center, had become a hotspot for species seeking impossible solutions to engineering problems. The humans had set up what they called an innovation department, though it looked more like a playground designed by someone who'd taken the laws of physics as mere suggestions. My communication panel lit up with a message from Lisa Turner. Hey Vin. Quick question: is there any regulation against teaching quantum mathematics to maintenance robots? Asking for a friend. I checked the protocols. Surprisingly, no, though I might need to add one after I see what happens. Great. Totally unrelated, but you might want to avoid the maintenance sector for the next few days. The robots are going through their theoretical physics phase, and they are a bit enthusiastic about practical demonstrations. Another message popped up, this time from the Council's Science Division. Request for clarification: how are human mechanics achieving 500% efficiency in solar energy conversion using only paperclips and what they call positive thinking? Tell them it's better not to ask, I replied. Just update the efficiency standards and maybe stock up on paperclips. The protocols had also led to the creation of what humans called an engineering exchange program. Various species would send their technical experts to learn from humans, though most returned with a mixture of inspiration and existential crisis. Message from the exchange program, my AI announced. The Duraxian engineers are requesting trauma counseling after watching humans repair a quantum drive using rubber bands and optimism. Approved, I said. Add a note to Section 3, Psychological Support for non-human engineers exposed to human innovation. Barista Prime hummed thoughtfully, a sound that somehow improved the taste of everyone's coffee within a 10-meter radius. You know, for a species that hasn't even figured out unified field theory, humans have a remarkable ability to make the universe cooperate through sheer audacity. That's going in the protocols too, I decided. Adding a new subsection: the principle of human audacity. Reality is more flexible than previously assumed when humans are involved. A final message came through, this time from Marcus: found a way to make the maintenance robots dance. Not important, but thought you should know before they start their first performance in the council chamber. P.S. Did you know quantum entanglement works great for choreography? I looked at my now empty coffee cup, which somehow showed the face of Schrodinger's cat winking at me in the remaining grounds. The human handler protocols glowed before me, a testament to the galaxy's attempt to cope with the wonderful chaos that humans brought to our orderly universe. You know what the funny thing is, I said to Barista Prime as distant music began playing from the direction of the council chamber. We thought we were creating protocols to handle humans, but really we are just documenting all the ways humans handle reality itself. Speaking of handling reality, Barista Prime chimed, the maintenance robots have just discovered interpretative dance as a way to express quantum mechanics principles. Would you like a coffee that tastes like string theory before you go watch? I saved the protocols, knowing they'd need updating by tomorrow. Somewhere in the galaxy, a human mechanic was probably explaining to physics why it should work differently, and physics was probably listening. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Make it a double shot, I said. heading toward the sound of robots performing what appeared to be a quantum physics ballet. Something tells me reality is about to get creative again.